Hello again everybody, I'm Maheshi. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are looking at Evelyn's story, but this is part 2. Don't worry if you missed part 1, I'll give you a quick background so that you can still follow the story in this video, and afterwards I'll put the link down below so that you can leisurely look at part 1, which went into her past life regression. This case is from the book Same Soul, Many Bodies from Dr. Brian Weiss. It's a real life case study that shows us how to find peace and happiness now and in future lives as well. So it's groundbreaking work here, another powerful form of therapy that will definitely help us simply by following the story and understanding the past, present, future connections of our bias and the benefit of uprooting it. So what happened in the first video, what we shared, was Evelyn was a very successful executive in New York. She had the Chanel suit, the Gucci shoes, and the Rolex watch, plus a diamond necklace when she met Dr. Brian Weiss. She was in mergers and acquisitions. She had a thumping salary, and she was able to earn double or triple that with her bonuses from bringing new businesses. So she was that successful. But Dr. Weiss noticed that there was no light in her eyes. There was sadness in them. The light only came from the glittering necklace. And she said, "Please help me." And her eyes were darting about. She said, "I used to love my job, but now I don't. I used to love my husband, but now we are divorced." And she said she can't sleep, she's lost her appetite. She suddenly said, it all started with the suicide bombings. And then she said, "Oh, the Jews, the poor Jews. Oh, those Arabs." So she had a lot of feeling for the Jews and feelings against the Arabs. There was a clear bias here. So now you can see her strong bias was creating problems in her life, in her health and in her relationships. So when they went into a regression, she went into a World War II life where she was actually a German soldier, and she was performing atrocities against the group called the Jews at that time. He didn't care about their lives, he cared more about the value of a bullet. And now in this life, Evelyn was overcompensating by feeling strongly for the Jews and strongly against those who were suppressing them in this time, which happened to be the Arabs. And now what we are going to look at is what Dr. Weiss devises as a therapy for her. He said, "I'm going to try something. Are you willing?" And she said, "Yes." And then Dr. Weiss said, "I believe your conscious decisions and choices now are shaping your future lives. Do you want to do a progression?" That's the opposite of a regression. Regressions are going back into past life memories. Progression is looking at your most probable future life as a result of these causes. And he said, so first we are going to look at what your most probable future life is if you're unchanged. If you're Evelyn as you are, unchanged from the person who came here for my help, then let's see what's your most probable future life. And then Evelyn looks into her future and says, "I'm a Muslim girl, an Arab, a teenager. I'm in a hut made of tin, like the Bedouins use. I've lived here all my life." Where is this hut? In the Palestinian territories or in Jordan. It's not clear which. The boundaries have changed. When did they change? They are always changing, but everything else is the same. The war with the Jews goes on. Whenever there's a period of peace, the radicals destroy it. It means we are poor. We will always be poor. And her voice grew harsh. It's the Jews' fault. They are rich, but they don't help us. We are the victims. Can you see what's happening? Her bias is giving her different lives where she's pitted against another group and is often changing. One, she was against the Jews, then she was for the Jews, and again she's against the Jews. Think for a moment, do you have any biases? Do you have any unconscious or conscious bias? What if we've had the opposite bias in a previous life or in a future life? Then what value can you really attribute to this bias? So Dr. Weiss asked her to go a little bit forward in her Arab life, but she died soon after of an illness, and there was nothing more to be gained from that particular life. Instead, she had a brief glimpse of her life after that one, in which she was a Christian man living in East Africa, angry at the rapidly growing Hindu population in his part of the world. Prejudice never ends. So in her life review, she recognized that there were and would always be people to hate. But now at least there was an epiphany, a realization. Compassion and love are the antidotes to hatred and rage. She said, her voice full of wonder. Violence only perpetuates suffering. Isn't it amazing how you can get into deep realizations and epiphanies in this state? Dr. Weiss has another session with her where she goes into her future, but the future that would be hers if she does the work now, if she does the healing, if she does the uprooting, if she understands that we are all one. Every gender, religion, nationality, age, all that we have been and we will be. And we need to embrace it and see that it's one and it's just a passing stage. In fact, when I was small in this country, there was a war, or they call it different names, but there was a misunderstanding between two races which caused heaps of suffering to so many innocent civilians who were just trying to get on with their lives. And I always thought, what if I was born on the other side of the fence? Because this other group of people mostly lived in the northern part of our island, but of course we had them in our parts as well. They were our neighbors. We would exchange delicacies during festival times. We would say hi, we would work with them, but there was a group of people in that northern part who wanted it demarcated, separated. And I didn't really identify with this war or inner strife, whatever you want to call it, because I always thought, what if I was born on the other side of the fence? Then I would be seeing it entirely differently. And seeing this story, I'm glad that my childhood feelings are validated. But I do realize if I were born into a family with strong bias, where my parents and teachers were always talking about it, then I would not have had that neutral feeling about the races, and I would have picked up some of that bias and created unnecessary suffering for myself, just as Evelyn did. So now, the interesting part. In the next session, Dr. Brian Weiss says, okay, let's say you see everybody as one. You see that there's nothing to hate, nothing to feel superior or inferior about, and we are all one, all the same. Internalizing that mindset, let's progress you into your probable future now. And then a calm came over her. Apparently, her future life changed completely. She did not find an Arab or East African lifetime, but instead she said, I'm a manager in a hotel in Hawaii. It's a spa as well, a beautiful hotel and spa. There are flowers everywhere. The guests come from all over the world. from different countries and cultures. They come to find recuperative energy. It's easy to find it here because the spa is located in a beautiful landscape and it's managed so beautifully. She smiled at the vision. I'm blessed. I get to enjoy this every day of my life. Now, Dr. Brian Weiss adds a little footnote here that yes, we might think it's fantasy and it might be hard to separate fantasy and reality, but it's easy to understand a regression happen when there are strong emotions and it can be fact checked against that period. But in a progression, it's not so easy to do. But what he says is it's still a powerful form of healing, and as a result of this vision of the future life, Evelyn even decided to make changes in her present life. She quit her job and she started a bed and breakfast. She practiced yoga and meditation as well. So that is a beautiful way to gain happiness through future life progression. So I will put the link to part 1 of the video, and after that you can leisurely have a look at that as well. Thank you so much for viewing. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video so that more people can enjoy it. Take care until we meet again.